Hi, it's Hope and welcome to the video. As you can tell, this is going to be my October wrap-up. So first I'm going to get into the stats and then we'll get into the books and the ratings. These are all of the books that I read this month since I did not have the time to film a mid-month wrap-up like I typically do. So I will be glancing over to this side because there is my computer screen with all the information that I would need to share. But let's start off with the stats. So, in October, I read 16 books across 6,769 pages, the average star rating being a 4.3. 2 of which were new adult, and 14 of which were YA. And the genres that these books went over was 1 contemporary, 5 dystopian, 6 fantasy, 1 graphic novel, 1 horror, and 1 paranormal, and 1 romance. So now let's actually get into the books. I will go in order, but for some of these, if I've read more in a series, I'll group the series together as we go. You'll kind of see. First we have The Bad Boy and the Tomboy by Nicole. I am not going to pronounce her last name because I will butcher it and I do not know how to properly pronounce her last name. But this, I gave a 4-star. This, we follow a girl named Mafi Anderson who only cares about soccer, her grades, and her friends, until a boy that she's been crushing on named Cedric asks her out, and of course she says yes. But during her relationship with Cedric, Mafi starts to come close with a boy named Sam, who is also Cedric's cousin, and we go from there. And I have a full in-depth review of this book. I will leave that linked in the iCard. I don't know which side it's on. And then in the description to go more in depth about this. I originally read this as an ebook, but I had to buy myself a physical copy to support the author because this was a Wattpad published book, so it was originally on Wattpad and I originally read it on Wattpad. But I really enjoyed this book. Next we have Firestarter by Tahereh, and I gave this a 4.5 stars. This is the final book in the Timekeeper trilogy, and in Timekeeper we follow a clockwork mechanic named Danny Hart, and clockwork mechanics are kind of what they sound. They repair clock towers, but in this world clock towers control time, as in if a clock tower breaks, it can jut time around or completely stop time in an area and all of that. This is the final book in the series. This is my favorite book in the series, as the other 2 I gave 4 stars. This one I gave a 4.5. I really did enjoy the ending and the characters I really like, and all of that. I don't really have much more to say that isn't spoilers, so I'm not going to say it, but I would 100% recommend the Timekeeper trilogy if you're looking for like a historical LGBTQ fantasy book with a bit of like mythology kind of based in there. It's really good. Next we have Lady Midnight, Lord of Shadows, and Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. This is the entire Dark Artifices series. I gave each of these 5 stars, and in this series we follow Emma Carstairs, who is trying to kind of solve her parents' murder because they were murdered 5 years prior, but she does not believe that the person who is said to have murdered them murdered them. We also follow the Blackthorn siblings as they have to deal with their own stuff going on, and this is set in the Shadowhunter Chronicles universe. So there's shadow hunters. Shadow hunters are humans with angel blood, and I'm about to drop these. We also have vampires, werewolves, warlocks, fairies. I'm still trying to figure out if this is my favorite series by Cassandra Clare, or if The Infernal Devices are my favorite series by Cassandra Clare, but I love these books with all my heart. I already want to reread these, and I just finished reading them. And yeah, again, I gave them each 5 stars. I can't tell if Lady Midnight or Queen of Air and Darkness is my favorite. Yeah, I might do just an entire book talk on the series. I haven't decided.
Oh my god, I'm about to drop these.
And next we have Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. In Cemetery Boys, we follow a trans Latinx boy named Yadriel, and he is trying to prove to his family that he is a real Brujo. I think that is how you pronounce it. I could be entirely wrong, but in doing so, he ends up summoning the ghost of a boy that went to his school who died right before he summoned him on accident. And Yadriel summoned Julian, the boy from his school, while Yadriel was trying to summon his cousin who died right before, and all of that. And it is the kind of story of Yadriel kind of trying to prove to his family that he is a real boy, as well as trying to solve Julian's murder, and all of that. And it is a fun Halloween-y read. I enjoyed it so much. I don't know if I said this, but I gave it 5 stars, and honestly, it deserves more than 5 stars, but I can't give it more than 5 stars because I rate my books 0 through 5. Like, I love it so much. It is definitely going to be a book that I read every Halloween, because it has that, like, ghosts and all of that. In the last, 5 chapters, I went through every emotion in the book. I was laughing, I was crying, I was almost screaming. I went through everything, and I love the way it ended up. I love Yadriel and Julian as characters because they are so complex and have such good character backstories and all of that. And I am now going to shut up because I could probably spend 10 minutes just saying how much I love this book. It is such a good book, and it's hard to believe that this is Aiden Thomas's debut novel. It feels so well done. Next we have Blue Lily Lily Blue by Maggie Stiefvater, and this I gave a 3-star. Blue Lily Lily Blue is the 3rd book in the Raven Cycle series, and the first book being The Raven Boys. In The Raven Boys, we follow a girl named Blue who is the daughter of a psychic, and every year Blue and her mother do this ritual type thing that it shows them the people that are going to die within the next year in their area, and only people with the sight can see that. But when Blue, somebody who doesn't have the sight, sees a ghost, that means that that person is either her true love, or she killed them. And that person that she sees is a boy named Gainsey. Now, Gainsey is a part of this friend group that we eventually meet. We see all of that, and they are looking for this mysterious king that's in a myth that is supposedly supposed to grant you a wish, and all of that. And Blue Lily Lily Blue is the 3rd book in the series. I wanted to like this more than I thought, but a lot of it I was just kind of what is going on? I don't understand. What I did understand I liked, but anything that I didn't understand I was all huh? I'm mainly sticking around for the characters and the like couples that I know come out of this series, because a lot of people are like, these couples are so cute, and I'm like, yeah, I see it, but I actually want to see these couples end up together. So yeah. Next we have Dwell by Lynda O'Rourke, and this is the second book in the Cassie Bell series, the first book being Drug. And in Drug we follow Cassie Bell, who does this drug trial because she's low on cash, and this drug trial will give her $2,000. But when this drug trial becomes much more sinister than she was led to believe, everything ends up a horror story. And it's just a horror series. This is one of the series that got me into reading. I'd say this is my like 4th or 5th time reading it. This is a book that I just kind of picked up anytime I was waiting to be picked up from work and all that. So it was kind of like I read it throughout the month, and I gave it a 4-star. It's a really good series. Next we have The House of Hades by Riordan, and I gave this a 4 stars. I can't really say much since it's the 4th book in the Heroes of Olympus series, and pretty much everything that I will say will be spoilers, so a little bit of a spoiler warning. But we follow Percy and Annabeth while they are in Tartarus, I think that is how you pronounce it, and trying to find their way out. And then we follow the rest of our characters trying to get to them and save them, and all of that. I did really enjoy this. I think this might be my favorite in the series. Still not 100% sure on that, but I love these characters. I love this world. And all of that. I just love it. Now moving on to what I'm going to call the uphill/downhill fall of this month. So originally on my TBR, I was supposed to read Restore Me and Shadow Me by Tahereh Mafi. Well, I decided to read Restore Me, Shadow Me, Defy Me, Reveal Me, and Imagine Me. And if you don't know what the Shadow Me series is, we follow a girl named Juliet who is her touch is lethal, and anybody she touches dies or gets seriously hurt. And she is trying to be recruited by these people called the Reestablishment, which is this military operation that has taken over the world, and all of that. I'm not going to say much more, but I'm just gonna actually say, like, fuck it, a spoiler warning. I will probably spoil everything to do with the last 3 books in the Shadow Me series, as well as the last 2 novellas. I will be saying spoilers, but first I'll go through what I gave each book as a rating. So Restore Me, which is book 4, I gave a 5-star. Shadow Me, which is novella 4.5, I gave 4 stars. Defy Me, which is book 5, I gave a 4.5. Reveal Me, which is novella 5.5, I gave 4 stars. And then Imagine Me, which is book 6, I gave a 4.5. Now, I love this series. I love everything about this series. I love the characters. I love everything. A lot of people say that this like back half of the series shouldn't have existed, or is awful, or is crap. I do not believe it. I wish I had video of this, but when I finished Restore Me, I kid you not, I fell out of bed in shock. I started crying. I had to walk back and forth my room to calm down. It took me like 20 minutes to calm down from it. I went through a million emotions. The way that we learn about the characters and the world in this back half I love it so much. This back half of the series, this like second trilogy as people call it. They call the first 3 books one trilogy, and then the second 3 books a separate trilogy, and I do see how they say that, but I love this series. This is, it's now moved up probably to my top 10 series, honestly. I love all of the characters. I especially love Juliet, Warner, and Kenji. I would die for them. I'm trying not to say things that are spoilers. I might do an entire video just gushing about this series. I honestly already want to reread this series, and I literally just finished it, and it's a 6/8/10 book series, however you want to look at it. It's insane. Next, I read Red School by Victoria Aveyard and Soman Chainani, and this is a graphic novel that combines the Red Queen series by Victoria Aveyard and the School for Good and Evil by Soman Chainani, and this I gave a 3 stars. The graphics are amazing. The concept of the book, like of the graphic novel, is really cool. The way we're combining the characters from the Red Queen series and the School for Good and Evil series together in a thing that I've never seen happen in any, and pretty much like any format of entertainment. But I didn't understand a lot of it because I've only read the Red Queen series. I have not read the School for Good and Evil series, even though I own the first book, and I've owned the first book for years. I feel as though that I would have enjoyed the series more, the book more, if I would have read both of the series, and I do plan on reading the School for Good and Evil series sometime next year, and I do plan on reading the part 2 to this graphic novel when it comes out in December, but it was just mediocre. And then finally we have Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This is my all-time favorite book. Technically, I didn't finish this in October. I finished it on November 1st, but that was the last like 100 pages, so I'm counting it for October. But in Red, White, and Royal Blue, we follow Alex Claremont Diaz, who is the first son of the U.S. His mother is the president. And then we follow Henry, Prince of Wales. And Henry and Alex first start off as enemies. They hate each other. But when they are put in a predicament where they have to form a fake friendship to kind of save the, to save their image, that fake friendship turns into a real friendship, and then that friendship turns into more than a friendship. It turns into a relationship. And I love this book so much because not only are the characters are amazing, and the romance is so cute between Alex and Henry, but a few of the topics talked about in this book are really necessary. And I enjoy this because of everything it deals with, and everything that we talk about, and the way that everything happens just feels so good and necessary, and everything. I'm just trying not to say how good it is because it is so good. Again, it is my all-time favorite book. I cannot explain to you why, except the characters and everything is so good. The way that we especially see Alex as a character grow in the span of this book. And yeah, those were the 16 books that I read this month. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you'll stick around to see my November wrap-up, which will be posted at the beginning of December. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye!